Good evening, everybody. Welcome to So Calysōl. I'm your host, Calysōl. We're here tonight on the Feel Good Talk Network. Do me a favor as you're tuning in, hit the likes, share, and subscribe button. Subscribe to Feel Good Talk. Check out some of the other videos we have. This is my fourth episode today, so I'm super excited about that. But yeah, definitely share and subscribe for us. We really appreciate that over here at the network. So I'm your host, Callie Soul, and tonight we're going to talk about building from the ground up. Now, on my last episode, we were talking about the tribe, and my question to you was, where'd my tribe go? And I meant that with the most sincerity because I see in our neighborhoods, it's like we're not even together no more. So, building from the ground up today, we're going to talk about how you can become a good neighbor, okay? One of the things that I want to ask you today, just to think about as you are moving through this episode, and I'm speaking to you, what do you want to experience? Because all of us want to experience things. And sometimes, you meet people and it's like they want to experience things, but they don't want to do anything to contribute to it. So, what I want to know is, what do you want to experience in your tribes, in your neighborhood, in your family, at your job? Because all of those are tribes. Like, we have many different tribes. A tribe is not just a one faceted thing. It's multifaceted. And then sometimes you take members from the tribe that you have and start infusing them into other tribes. I can't even count how many tribes I have, but I love all of them for different reasons. I have different girlfriend tribes. I have my tribe of girlfriends that we like the therapy tribe, the red tent tribe. Some of y'all know about red tent out there. But yeah, we're like we get together and we heal. We talk, we hash out our problems and concerns and our questions. And sometimes while we're talking, we're hanging out, we're like, child, I feel like we could just come in here and figure out how to save the world from all its troubles. And that's true. And that is, indeed what women do. Men do it too, right? They do it at the barber shop. Some of your barbershop communities are the best tribes, right? You got like the elder that's always over in the corner watching. Then you got the elder that always got something to say. You got the barbers and the different dynamics that they have with one another, the camaraderie between them and the staff, right? And then you got the camaraderie between the barbers and the clients that are walking in the door, not to mention the locals that love to drop in at barbershops and beauty salons, right? I know we've been in a pandemic, so that culture has probably changed a lot too. But like, I remember that used to be like the highlight of my salon visit was like, okay, who's gonna pop in today? It's gonna be the barbecue man, it's gonna be the hustle man, is there gonna be some drama, like it's the beauty salon, it's the barber shop. But I want us to think of what we want to experience in each of those tribes, what you appreciate about each of those tribes, right? The members and how they show up and how you love on one another and how you do the dance, right? Because it's communication. Tribalism is a relationship between people of like-mindedness, right? But it's a dance. It's like I teach you, you teach me. I'm learning from you, you learning from me, right? Like I said, you got your elders, you got the young folk. I was just down in Jamaica this summer, and I hope everybody's been having a great summer. I know we all been like excited to be out the house and everything. So I hope that everyone's having a great summer, and I hope that you are authentically having a great summer. I notice a lot of people are trying to mimic other people's lives, especially when we get into watching social media and stuff, right? It's like, oh, this person's over there doing that. I want to do that. And then you just want to take a picture. But sometimes we get so tied up trying to take the picture and document the moment for everybody else that we are not fully present on our square in that moment. So I hope that everybody took the time to really be present this summer in their getting out the house, in their experiences with their loved ones, their friends and family. And my summer, I call it now I had a hot girl summer, but my hot girl summer ain't the type of hot girl summer you think. My hot girl summer is I've been out in the garden all summer, just like taking it all in. I got a plot this year with Denver Urban Gardens, and it was full of weeds when I got it. I'll be making some posts about that later so you guys can follow on my social media to see that. But it was a mess. It had a bunch of weeds, but I had a bunch of frustration that I needed to get out. So it was perfect because I went out there and I cleared the plot. It took me like 5 hours to clear the plot. And then I actually plotted the land to see, like, okay, where do I want, certain vegetables to go in? What vegetables like a lot of drainage? What vegetables like bedding? It was very interesting how the garden transpired too, because I would find wood pieces and stuff in the neighborhood. And, I'm a lady, but I'm very like rugged Barbie. So I have like straps in the back of my car so that I can strap things to the top of it. I have a ski rack on the top of my car, and I don't mind pulling over and grabbing things and strapping them down and taking them and dropping them off where I need. So often I was able to collect wood, and that ended up being like the fabric for my raised beds in my gardens. My garden looks like I spent money on it, but I didn't. I just gathered things. But as I've been getting out, and enjoying that space, I've just been thinking about like what it means to cultivate tribe. And I love gardening because I know like there's so much abundance, there's so much left over that I can't help but to share. So I'm able to share with my neighbors, neighbors that I wouldn't even know their names. It's like, oh, you know what? I got some extra kale. We got to go knock on this door. Hi, how you doing? I'm Calysōl. I'm your neighbor. Da, 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 da. I have a garden. Would you like some vegetables? And that's why I was asking earlier, like, you have to want how do you want to show up? What do you want to experience? I want to experience friendliness. I want to experience knowing my neighbors. We don't got to be friends. We don't got to hang out all the time and stuff like that. But I want to be familiar enough with them till I know their vehicles. If somebody mess with their vehicle, their place, you know what I mean? I know who. I don't want to be the nosy neighbor lady. Now, let's don't get it twisted. But to know who is coming in and out of the neighborhood is very important, right? Because you think back to growing up, we've always had weirdos running about in the neighborhood, right? And everybody always knew where the weirdos lived, right? And we communicated that as a community. And because we were a community, we looked out for one another, and the children were able to be outside playing. I miss that. I miss seeing babies outside playing. I miss seeing jump rope contests. I miss seeing freeze tag. Do y'all remember freeze tag? Potato sack races. I remember folks would skin their knees up playing ball in the streets. I miss hearing kids running in crying with skinned up knees because they've been playing. And I know that it's easy to give them the devices, and the devices seem safe, but in order for us to cultivate our tribe, we're going to have to make safe space again, which means we're going to, like, okay, if you've got work to do and you're taking work home with you and you're on your computer, take your computer to the porch. Go sit on the porch so that your child can be out in the front playing with the kids next door and you got eyes shot of them. And invite your other neighbors to do the same. And like, when you see your neighbor, say hello. Hellos are free. It's so funny to me that folks seem like they're afraid to say hello. And I live in Colorado, let's be clear. So I know some of y'all live out in these wonderful southern neighborhoods and stuff where everybody speaks to everybody. That's the one thing I love about when I go down south. Like, everybody's like, hey child, how you doing, sugar? Let me see what in New Orleans what they say. Sweetie, baby, how you doing, baby? I love that. And I'm like, they're genuine about it. They actually pause and wait for you to give a response. And if you don't give a response, it's like, oh, baby, you hear me talking to you. But yeah, if you can't, it's not in our best interest, right? To look and say, you know what? She don't never speak. I ain't finna speak to her. Whatever you do, that's what you're going to experience. So if you're not speaking, you're not going to experience somebody speaking to you. Like, where is the magnetism? Like, why would someone want to speak to you if and give people the opportunity to have a bad day and not speak? One of my favorite things about the 5 love languages, and I'm not gonna go there. Let me stay here. With the 5 love languages, they tell you about when you first start communicating in a way that you're not used to, it feels very contrived, it feels fake, it doesn't feel good, it feels uncomfortable, but you got to keep doing it. So like if you want to experience physical touch, then you've got to learn how to give physical touch. You've got to learn how to caress, especially us ladies. You know, we got to learn how to caress. The men, they love it when we caress them. They get the purring and growling and stuff. I like it. You know, but when I first started communicating certain languages, it didn't feel comfortable. If you think about it, even if you learn Spanish, French, or a new language that's foreign to you, when you first learn it, you're going to be choppy with your sentences and it's not going to flow right. But you got to continue using it because then it begins to flow, right? It's the same way with love languages. So, for instance, if you have a parent that doesn't like to hug or they're not very verbal with their love, like, hey babe, I love you, you're my, you're my sunshine, you're my sweetheart, come and give me some kisses or whatever, and you're like, wow, I really want to experience that. Well, telling them, you know, you don't never hug me, oh, you don't never kiss me, you don't never tell me how much you love me, like that experience could give you that speaking to someone in that way could actually give them a response that you don't want to experience, right? Because they might feel attacked, even though that wasn't your intent. So the easiest way to experience what you want to experience is to give it. So instead of asking, "Hey, I wish you would tell me that you love me more often." You have to say, "You say I love you." And here's the catch. Saying it, you have to let go of your attachment to them saying it back. I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They're like, "Well, I'm always the one that says I love you." Okay, you're the one that loves to be expressive in that way. Everybody don't express in the same way. Love is love, right? Love is love, but everyone doesn't express in the same way. And who's to say that how you express might not be like, wow, mind blowing to them, right? And they don't know how to receive it. I've experienced that a lot too, where I'm communicating verbally and letting someone know how much I love them, or being more physical with them in my touch and letting like some people are like, "Oh, why you touch me like that? Why?" You know, and I'm like, "Oh, just because that's what I wanted to do. Is that okay? Am I not violating you? Am I? Like it's very good to check in also, especially with the physical touch. Like if somebody reacts in a way, you can check in with them and see, like, oh yeah, I didn't mean nothing by it, but I just wanted to put my hand on your shoulder while I talk to you. It feels good that those are different ways of communicating love feel good. But if you want to experience it, holding it inside that you want that experience, or talking to your friends and saying, oh, this person doesn't do this, that person doesn't do that, like that's not going to get you the result that you want to see. The way you get the result that you want to see is you're going to have to give it. You want your neighbors to start speaking? You're going to be training them, okay? We're going to go into neighbor training. You might be saying hello to them for a year, and finally they're just like, you know what, Barbara is always saying hello to me. Let me just stop. Here she goes at the mailbox, and you end up having a wonderful conversation, and then that opens up the the relationship or the friendship or the kinship, whatever you want to experience. And then later on, it can come to like, oh yeah, we having a card party. Come on down next week and bring the boys, whatever. Like, how you gonna get to that if you don't have a foundation? Like you've got to start somewhere. Don't worry about the little bit that you have. If you got a little bit of love, start with it. Let me get some of my comments here. Hey everybody! Woo! Hey, Charles. Yes, please love, share, and follow Feel Good Talk, y'all. We got so many good people. We got so many good people on the network, so many good shows, so much education, access. And the kids is going back to school. All of y'all who have children that are going back to school, I suggest that you tune in on Tuesdays to Money Moves with Melody. And if you can't tune in live, we have the queue of videos in the Feel on the Feel Good Talk YouTube page. You can go to Feel Good Talk on YouTube and you'll be able to pull up all of the videos. You'll see the lovebirds and Izzy meditates. You'll see all the things. But definitely get your children on that Making Money Moves with Melody show. And before you get your kids on it, you check it out. But it's very important that we teach finance to our children because they're not going to teach it in the schools, especially if they're in public schools. They might skim the surface for you, but what the things that they really need to know, um, could slide through the cracks. And yes, Charles said, very busy and great summer over here. I'm glad to hear that, Charles. Mine too. He said it's nothing like that yard work. It relieves my like getting out. Well, what's funny about it is we get out in the yard and we're sweating and you know kneading the soil or working with whatever we're working with, and the sun, it's like you're giving to the earth and the sun is behind you like, I got your back, and the sun is just beaming in and giving you all that vitamin D so that you can have energy later, so that your circadian rhythm can be on, right? So that when you lay down your head at night, your body has been reset and recharged. So yeah, yard work it takes a lot of stress out of us, even though to some people they look at it and it's like it's a very stressful thing, right? Charles said that's how it was when we were growing up. Every neighbor knew each other. Isn't that the truth? Sometimes I loved it and sometimes I hated it. Cause boy, especially when chores came around, they all knew like that little girl right there, she liked to do some chores. So some summers I would have to remind people like, I want to be a kid, I want to ride my bike, I want to go to swim practice, I want to play with the other kids, and you got me in here slaving away, but I like money, so I'm gonna be here. But it was safe for us because what, we all knew our neighbors and everybody. The world, what's funny is people think that the world has changed. Yes, HT Lovejoy here on vacation. Positive love, feel good family. People think that the world has changed so much. The world hasn't changed. The world is a wonderful place. And there's always been things and people and situations that show up that don't feel good, that are, unsafe and stuff, but we've navigated them. Nothing, it's still the same. We've always had insane people running around the neighborhood trying to snatch up kids and all that stuff. But when we knew each other, honey, if a strange man was in the neighborhood, they wouldn't be there for long because folks would, and us, black folk is nosy. They'll come stand on the curb by the mailbox. Like, who you? Who you in here to see? I've been seeing you drive through here. How you doing? And that be like Miss Johnson on their neck. Like, what are you doing here? You don't look familiar. You look like a lost, what they say, you look like a lost pilgrim. Charles said, I am blessed to live in a neighborhood now where everyone knows each other. That's beautiful. And I bet you that's not by happenstance. I bet you that y'all actually cultivate that and, everybody does their part. I love to see when like the elders in the neighborhood don't have to shovel their snow because the young people are like, oh no, it's snowing. Okay, we're going to shovel our driveway. Then we're going to go down here and just make a little pathway for Miss Johnson to get out or Mr. Charles to get out. Make sure the folk take care of folk. And when that's beautiful. I love it when we can just remember our humanity. Remember the humanity in your brothers and your sisters. Remember the humanity in yourself. Cultivate the humanity. Feed it. Feed someone else's humanity. And how about this? Feeding humanity in people, it don't cost you nothing. A wave, a smile, a hello. Those are all free. Mm-hmm. 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 Hey, HT. Hey, she said she like my red. Y'all like my red. Mm. I like ruffles. Yes, Southern hospitality, man. I remember the first time I went to Dallas, Texas, and I grew up here in Denver, Colorado. I'm from California, but I was raised here in Denver. I call it a Calirado native. I'm the first one to coin that. So, but growing up here, we we had black neighborhoods, but they started to get gentrified in my generation, and people didn't know the value, so things got broken up. And we also were easily neighborhoods were easily pinned against each other, though it was really interesting. um so I had never been to like a fish fry growing up. I had been to cookouts, and I had been to like Easter dinners at grandmother's in the neighborhood's houses, and Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, but things like that were traditional, right? But to go to like a place where fish frying on the weekend is like the thing that they do, like I didn't experience that here in Colorado. So my first time going to Dallas, I went to go visit a girlfriend who I met in Colorado. Izzy says, "Hey, FGT fam." Hey, Izzy. And went to go visit this friend in Dallas and had to go to the grocery store in the morning and encountered this older gentleman. And I walked in the store and I had my buggy and I'm getting my things. And he's like, "Hey, baby girl, how you doing?" And I was like, "I'm good." But I'm sure the look on my face, he could tell that I was like, "I don't know you." So then he keep talking to me. Well, how your family doing and stuff? And I was like, "Sir, I'm sorry, I don't know you." Now I was young, I was in my 20s, but it was because I hadn't experienced friendliness like that. And it almost felt intrusive, but it felt good. It was weird. So I stayed there with it. But yeah, like Southern hospitality is a thing. And I remember I went to church with my girlfriend, and one of the ladies from the church was like, "Oh, baby, we having y'all come on over after church, and you bring your friend, and we gonna have a good time." And I was just like, these people have opened their home to me. I went, I ate, I enjoyed myself, I laughed, I danced, I talked, I played cards, and they just embraced me as family. But we often forget that we are one. HT Lovejoy says, "That is so funny, Calysōl. Just this morning, I was outside in front of my house and I said hello to a neighbor across the street from me. He responded, 'What?' He responded, 'What?' As if he was being attacked." You know what? Kudos to you, HT, for saying hello. And you don't have to. It's okay. You can do what you want to do and don't do what you don't want to do. That's a rule that I have, baby. But if I were you, I would just, say hello to him whenever you feel like it, whenever it feeds your soul. And HT Lovejoy and I have this funny little joke between us. It's called inappropriate, uncontrollable laughing. I've spoke to people, and when they don't want to speak back, or you can tell they just want to tense up and be a curmudgeon, I literally laugh my arse off, literally in their face, because I'm like, honey, and I don't do it on purpose. It just happens. It happens because I'm like, you taking more energy to hold in expression. You are taking more energy to do that. You should be laughed at. That's funny. Ha ha to you. And I hope you feel it too. And I hope you get over it. Like I said, the world's a beautiful place, and we have to do our part to continue to make it a beautiful place. Thank you, Charles. He said red look good on me too. I do love the red. Hey, I don't know who York Dickerson is. Sending peace and blessings to the FGT group and family. I think that's one of ours, isn't it, Chuck? Hey. So yes. So as I was saying earlier, I went to Jamaica and I really got to see what was really interesting to me was I did not see a bum on the street. Now I was in Montego and I was in the grill. Everybody had a sense of urgency about them to be about their business, whatever that business was. What if they're trying to sell you a rag so you can wipe the brow, get that sweat off your brow, and keep going down the street? That's what they're doing. But it seemed like everybody had a job, and there was community accountability. I remember as we were in the cab, we were turning this crazy curb, and we went to downtown Montega, and these kids were walking, and you could tell their mom probably sent them to the store, or they were just out and about, while their parents were at work. But they were walking in like in the street, in an area where they had no business walking, and there was like sidewalk, pedestrian sidewalk over on the side, and the driver yelled out the window, like, "Hey, y'all, you're not supposed to be over here. You get over there. You're not being safe." And the kids looked at them and they waved and they went on about their business. And I was like, that's community accountability at work. Like, he didn't know them kids, but he still cared about their well-being enough to be like, these kids, because maybe the next person might not be so caring, right? And maybe the next person might not even see them. Maybe the next person is speeding trying to get to their next place, and then the next thing you know, you got a kid that turned into a speed bump. Not cool. Got a little dark there. It's okay. Let's bring it back up. um So while we were there, we played this game that I want to tell you all about. And you can do it when you're going on vacation. You can do it just on a day out with your friends. It doesn't matter how, but the next time you have a nice group of people, I say of at least three or more, you can play this game and you can adapt it however you want. But one person has to wear a wig. Another person has to be the spokesperson for the group. Another person has to be silent. Another person has to do something that they wouldn't normally do. So, like, if you're on a beach vacation with your girlfriends and you have a girlfriend that bought a two-piece with her, but she's afraid to wear it, then she gets to be the person that's going to do something that she wouldn't normally do to push her out of her comfort zone. And you're with friends, so you're in safe space. So it's like, we're going to support you in doing this. You can do this. So, yes, somebody has to do something that they normally wouldn't do, that it would make them feel uncomfortable, nothing unsafe, right? But the group has to support them in that. And then someone has to sing the whole time. They can't talk. When they open their mouth to communicate, they have to sing. Isn't that awesome? That's like, it was the funnest game ever, playing that with the people that I played with. Um, of course, I was the singer, right? I was singing, but it was like funny stuff. So it was like, if it was to order the food, I'd have to be like, "Yes, I'd like to get a margarita." Mm. And they're like, "Do you want it frozen or on the rocks?" "Ooh, the frozen will give me a headache. Let me get it on the rocks." Anyway, so yeah, like, that's a fun building game, and that's a game that you can do with your tribe. You can do it if your kids are your tribe, do it with your kids. If your mama and your sisters is your tribe, do it with them. But try it. And yes, of course, the guys, they probably won't be wanting to wear no wig. Maybe the guys could wear a toupee. That might be fun. But who would randomly have a toupee? I don't know. If a man had a randomly had a toupee, I might not trust that. Women be randomly having wigs. But that's a good way to help everybody just let their hair down and experience something different. And what? Cultivate your tribe. Another thing that I wanted to touch on is like different activities that you can do with your family that you want to experience. Gardening is like by far the best, but if you don't have space to do a garden, maybe just do a nice house plant. Now, if you do have space to do a garden, I think it's very wonderful to do gardening as a family. A really good idea is to, get you a little garden box or whatever, and just let each person pick 1 to 2 vegetables. And in that picking 1 to 2 vegetables or flower, if they like, I don't want to grow food, I'll grow something pretty. Flowers are necessary too for gardens, right? Because they're going to bring your pollinators in that are going to dance around and pollinate your actual food. But having each person have 1 to 2 vegetables, or if you got the space, they can do 5, right? I'd love a farm. Each person gets to do their research on that vegetable, like, okay, and each person should pick something that they want to eat, that they like to eat, right? So if you like okra and you're like, you know what, let me find out about okra. By the way, okra, that's a fun one. That's a challenging one to grow. You have to have a good grower's hand to work with okra. But each person diving in to that vegetable will that plant will bring up so many different things, right? It's like, oh, I didn't know that this plant actually puts nitrogen into the soil, and this plant sucks out all the nitrogen. Like, you guys kind of like comparing notes and planting as a family, learning how to weed the garden as a family, that is just going to be like good tribal work, good community building. And those are things that, like, if you give a man a fish, you just fed him today. But if you teach a man how to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. So yeah, gardening with a family member, you are being a student and a teacher, and you are receiving and giving things that that person is going to take with them for the rest of this lifetime and on into the other lifetime too. And I say on into the other lifetime because there's things that I've been growing in my garden that I have not been formally taught how to grow in this lifetime, and I have not looked and tried to figure it out either. Things just come to me and it's like, wow, I'm able to grow this. And how did I intuitively know, okay, I feel like this is going to need some fertilizer. Let me go find, like, different things have been happening as I've been gardening. It's been very interesting, but I know that my ancestors are with me and guiding me. So that's why I say, like, they're going to take this stuff into the next lifetime too. So if you don't have space to do a garden, then go ahead and do a small house plant. But that's good, like, camaraderie building within your house. If you are a single mom and you just got one child, y'all a tribe, so y'all could be doing things together. You can build a kite, like kite season is coming back up. Do y'all remember kite season? I just used to, oh, I loved to go to the park and just lay on the grass while everybody else, I was lazy. I didn't want to learn how to fly no kite. I just thought about that. That's hilarious. Yeah, no, I tried to fly my kite. We learned how to build them. We built them together. And then I would just go out there and I would try to fly it for a minute. And then I would just be like, I'm going to just lay on the ground and I'm going to watch the sky for everybody else's kites. But yeah, kite season coming up. Come on, y'all. Get out and do that. And when you do that, you're probably going to get other kids coming too, right? Because kids, they're like, those kids are out there playing. I want to go out there and play too, like that. And then that's teaching them how to build tribe, right? Because then it's like a new kids coming in I've never seen, never met you before. I've seen you around the neighborhood, and maybe this is the first time you speak to me, right? Because I have something that interests you. A kite. Who would have thought, right? A kite will bring us together. You know, that's gonna do better than a phone. At least there's real interaction there. But yeah, like, if they see your kite, they're going to come outside too. Like, teach your kids that. Teach them to be fearless in what they want to do, what the experience that they want to have, so that they show up and and extend that experience to everyone around them. And then what happens is, you don't got to worry about them trying to acquiesce to being like this person, acquiesce to being like that person. Teach them how to show up as who they are. And then what happens when you show up as who you are, bright and shining, unapologetic, the light is flying a kite. Last week she was on the scooter. This week she's out doing a chalk what you call it, a chalk mural in the driveway. Like those things are natural human, just human engagement that we need, freedom that we need to experience, freedom that we need to see other people experiencing. Um, because even as we see other people experiencing things, those things could be things that you also want to experience, right? And it turns the light on in you, or it helps you to crack that door open a little bit more, or kick the sucker open, right? I kick doors open. I'm a lady, but I if somebody cracks a door for me, I'm going through it. That's all I'm saying. For dads and moms too, another cool thing is like assembly projects, any type of assembly project. If you buy a lamp from IKEA, because Lord knows everything from IKEA come in a million pieces. I don't think I could buy nothing from IKEA no more. But it has served me very well. I'm not a snob. But say you get a lamp from IKEA. If your kids are old enough to not be putting parts in their mouth and stuff, lay it out in front of them so that they can see you working through, that is a part of tribalism teaches you in the most unassuming way how to live and how to show up in life. But yeah, lay the lamp out, whatever it is. If it's a fan, a vase, a table, lay it out. Let's lay the instructions out and let's see what we need to do. Now, some people don't like to use instructions. I'm that person. And most of the things I put them together perfectly. But that's because I've always been taught how to use deductive reasoning and really think. Like I went to wood shop when I was a kid. We had wood shop, you know. Like y'all gonna have to do wood shop with your kids. The schools aren't going to do it. Or you can try to find an after school program that has stuff like that. And it would behoove you to do that. All of the things that your children want to experience that you're not finding in your school's curriculum, search out, first of all, your local recreation center and the library. I had no idea that the library has so many little classes and programs. A lot of these libraries have had extended budget enough, not a lot, right? Because it's still a public place, that they've been able to build these wonderful engineering laboratories in these libraries, these local libraries. That local library right down the street from you probably has a robotics lab and a robotics class that is open and available to your children. And let me tell you, do not let finances stop you. Most of those programs and classes, they have to have scholarships. And if they don't have one, you can ask them to create one for your child. Oh, they're not going to just give it to you. You have to open your mouth and say, "Hey, my child is interested in this. This is my situation. Do you have a scholarship? What can I do? What resources do you have available?" Because most of these places have to have have resources given from the city and from the state, grants and stuff. And they also have donors. And how about this? Teach your children how to open their mouth and ask too. Because I know if it was something that I wanted when I was little, if my mom said she can't do it, she'd be like, "Go ask your uncle." And I'd be like, "Okay, okay." And get my big girl stance on, "Okay, uncle." And I knew, like, if I was going to any of my family members for help as a child, I had to build my case properly. I had to go in there with my details and my research. This is what I want to do. This is why. This is how much it costs. This is how much I have to go towards it. Can you please help me? My mom taught me how to do that. My mom's a gangster, though. That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother show, like mothers and tutelage and such. But yeah, like Don't let resources be a reason that your children cannot engage in these programs. Like, and if you go to church, you've been paying your tithes to these churches and such. I sure would be like, hey, no, we have a need. How you doing? I'm sister such and such been on the usher. But we have a need here. We got a kid that wants to go to this program. We got a kid, sometimes that's the thing. It's like we got 4 kids and we got enough for 2 of them to go to something, and then the other 2 wouldn't be able. And we're not about to have an imbalance in the house. We want all of them to go. To me, that is when you get to tap into your community church. Like, hey, we need help. And like talk to the people in your circle. I got girlfriends that'll be like, hey, honey, baby boy is doing basketball camp this summer. We wasn't prepared for him to be traveling out of town. Here is our cash app. If anybody would like to just extend some love resources, please do that. Please feel free. And when I see the messages, I'm like, oh child, that's easy. That's easy. That's a meal. I can send $50, $75. It might not be that much. Maybe it's 25, but I'm gonna send it because I know that mine went into a pot that built, like we don't have to look at things so like big. You gotta get down to like the micro pieces of it, the foundation of Jill Scott, her podcast, J.ill, by the way. Y'all should listen to Jill Scott's podcast. It gives me life. When she doesn't have an episode, I'm sad. And I'm sorry to you all that I only do 1 episode a month. My life is busy. And this is just how I have to move. But in her show, she says, how do you eat an elephant? The answer? One bite at a time. Do we have any more compliments? I think everybody's good right now. Oh, HT Love said, gardening is great fun. I'm working on my farm. Ooh, HT, you working on a farm? Oh man. That's good. That's good. If you got land, honey, you need to be, if you have land, if you have a house and you have land, now is the time to learn how to garden. And let me tell you, there ain't no excuse. I'm not good at this. I'm not good at that. Get on YouTube. And if it's, I don't have time to be watering every day, find out, type in what plants don't need a lot of water. You'd be surprised what grow without too much water and how things work. And you'd be surprised how, like for me, with gardening, I'm not a morning person. I'm a Pisces. I like my sleep. I don't like to be disturbed. I like to sleep in. And I'm one of them people, honey, I'll sleep all day, especially if I've been going hard, like I have this summer, doing all these shows and singing and such and doing hair. Honey, there's some weekends I will not, I get out the bed to get myself together and I get right back in the bed. And I don't get out the bed until I'm ready and I feel rested. But gardening, I'm up now early in the morning and it's exciting. I look forward to it. And I think it's because of the sun. I think the sun just really, really recharges our melanin and vibrations on the inside and our circadian rhythms. And it just does something different to the body. It charges you. That's probably why slaves was able to be out there all day doing what they did, and not pass out. Though some folks did pass out. I would have probably passed out somewhere under a bush, something, or found a place to hide. I don't know. It wouldn't have worked out too well for me. Anyhow, I'm glad that HT is gardening. I'm gonna have to talk to HT and see what she's gardening. Izzy said, yes, love kites. They fly them at Reagan National. Yes. A lot of cities have kite festivals too, y'all. So if you live near a major city, sometimes the small cities do too, especially I know like here in Colorado, it's a very mountainous place. A lot of these mountain towns have festivals. We have a hot air balloon festival, I want to say in Loveland here. Hot air balloon festival. Oh my God. I still haven't been because every year that they have it, I have a show. So I've got to work to learn the dates to some of these things ahead of time so that I don't go ahead and say yes to a show and then I'm busy. But yeah, a lot of these small towns have kite festivals and a lot of the major cities have kite festivals. So y'all Google kite festivals, Google kite festival in my area, hot air balloon festival in my area. We even had a lantern fest here. It was in Castle Rock, and it was like many different lanterns that were. I don't know how they work, how putting a light in it then makes air go in it in a certain way to where it flies up. And I'm a super nerd, so that's why I just nerded out on y'all right quick. But like, yeah, everybody lit these lanterns and let them go, and they went into the sky, and you just seen like the sky lit up with lanterns. It was the most beautiful thing I ever experienced. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, like stuff like that, like you're gonna see your neighbors out at, right? Like get out, people. And when they say get out the house, don't get out to post about getting out. Get out to get out. And it's autumn. Autumn is coming. Autumn is coming. It is cooling off. I want to see these children out playing football, freeze tag. I want to see the girls. I want to see double dutch. Oh my God. Do y'all remember double dutch contests? We used to double dutch in the street. We would double dutch until those ropes would break. And then we'd go to the gym teacher and be like, we need more ropes. We need to, they would be tired of us because we was always like, we need some more ropes. Is that all my comments, y'all? I appreciate everybody. I appreciate you for tuning in. All of my people out here in Colorado, whew, I will invite you. Let me invite you to go to the Atomga band page, ATOMGA. Sign our email list, look at all the shows and see what all we have coming up. We're going to be playing with Seun Kuti, or we'll be opening for Seun Kuti, who is Afrobeat royalty. He is Fela Kuti's son, one of his sons. And we will be opening up, my band Atomga will be opening up for him at the Fox Theater on Tuesday, September 27th. And that show, I'm so excited about that show because I actually, as a musician, after I finish performing, I'm going to stop and enjoy Seun's band. He and Egypt 80, which is actually some of the original members are still there from his father's band. It's dope, right? Oh, but yeah, I get to eat as a musician. I get to watch somebody perform, at the level that I perform at and entertain me. So I'm super excited about that. But definitely check out our band page. That's ATOMGA. And you can follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Instagram. You can see what the band does. And it's fun. It's a 10-piece Afrobeat band, y'all. And we get down. I'm also a part of a reggae band called Wake Up and Live. So you can look up Wake Up and Live Denver. We're a Bob Marley tribute band, and we're always moving about in the community too. People always say, well, where all do you perform? I'm like, we perform everywhere. Bluebird Theater, Fox Theater, Cervantes, Jazz at Jack's, Dazzle, wherever they're calling. And that's where we come and we bless you with our presence. We bless you with our music. So I invite you to do that. Also, make sure you follow me on social media. I'm Calysōl _ official on all streaming platforms. And follow Feel Good Talk too. So, another thing that builds community always is cookouts, right? Like back in the day, the reason why we had cookouts was a little bit different, especially in the hood. Folks was having cookouts for survival sometimes. It'd be like, your family got potato salad, my family got a slab of ribs and some chips, and this person got salad, that person over, and we would bring all of what we had together, and it would be a feast. Cookouts. But cooking, That's another fun thing that you can do with your family together. And it's very important. Those are people, social skills that children are going to need when they turn into adults, right? You want to give them at least 5 to 10 good meals to go out into the world with. What you got? Spaghetti, fettuccine, how to fry chicken, how to boil eggs properly, how to prepare eggs different ways. That's a good one. How to prepare eggs different ways. There's so many different ways to prepare eggs. Folks like fried egg, poached egg, boiled eggs scrambled, omelets and eggs. You know, there's so many. What is that? What's the little thin thingies? Crepes. That's a form of an egg. But yeah, like cooking together as a family, that builds your tribe. And to me, cooking as a family is a beautiful thing because then we get to talk and converse over the nuances of each person's dish, right? Or why they like something, or poke fun at them like, oh, he always cooking corn. That's his favorite thing. You know, I have a cousin, he loves corn and shouldn't because it does bad things to his system, you know. But cooking together is a beautiful way to cultivate tribe as well. When you're when you're together, it feels different. When you're alone, you know, it's easier to drop into depression and different things, different experiences that can get kind of steal yourself away from the world. Yes, there's a lot happening out there. Yes, there's, people in the world that do things that we don't want to experience. But you can't let nobody, no one, no thing, no ting stop you from experiencing life. And holding your phone and scrolling and looking at other people's lives, that's not living. Yes, you're breathing, but that's not living. Waiting for someone else to tell you what they're doing so that it gives you some excitement. Think about what you've been wanting to do and do it. Take your time, save if you got to. If all you can save is $5 a paycheck, save it. Because one day you'll look up and you'll have enough to do whatever you want with it. If it's that trip, save up for it. You know, if it's a massage chair, like there's this. Let me tell you how I learned how to start saving. It was very ironic. There was this massage chair that I wanted. I'm a hairstylist by day and a musician by night, so my body takes a beating. And there was this massage chair that does your hands. It's like a shiatsu, air massager with rollers and all this stuff too. And the chair was super expensive. It was a pricey thing. And I was just like, oh my God, I want that chair so bad. But I'm not the type of person that'll go put something on a credit card if I don't have the money to pay for it. I'm going to put it on the credit card. Let's be clear, because I want my flight points. I want my flight points. That's how I travel for free. Put all my bills and anything that can go on that card, go on the card. But as soon as I put it on the card, I pay it off immediately. So with this chair, it was, a couple of $1,000s. And I was just like, you need to save that. And once you save it, then you can go buy it. Well, I saved it. It took me, I want to say like a whole year to save up for it, maybe a little bit over, because as you're saving, something might happen and you're like, I gotta dip into it and get the engine fixed on the car or whatever, the window switch, something, so it might have took a little bit over a year and a half. Not a year and a half, I'm sorry, a little bit over a year. And once I finally got the amount and I was about to go to the store to purchase it, I was like, I don't want to spend my money on. So then I took that money and instead of going and buying the chair, I went on ahead and put it in the bank and started doing other things, investing it that way. But that was how I started saving. So I was like, I want, so like I was saying earlier, my mom taught me whatever you want, you're going to have to go for it. You're going to have to advocate for yourself to get it. So, you know, whatever you want to experience, you're going to have to be active in creating it as well. Sitting up and saying, "Oh gosh, I want to go to Tahiti one day and sip mai tais on the beach and eat good food." And you put that in the back of your head, and especially sometimes, as especially younger women, we can put a dream, right, of a literal dream that you can create it with your little imagination in the back of your mind back here somewhere, right? And then you waiting for someone else, not you, someone else, to come and help you make that dream come true. So you want to go to Tahiti and you meet Mr. Whoever. We'll say we meet Charles. We meet Charles Brakely. And he's like, "Oh yeah, Callie, you da, 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 da." I'm like, "Uh-huh, he's nice." And you start, hanging out or whatever. And then it's like, "Oh, we should go somewhere. We want to go. Oh, I want to go to Tahiti. I always want to go to Tahiti." And he's like, "Yeah, Tahiti would be nice, but maybe we should just go like to New Orleans or Miami because the budget, the way my bank account's set up is like I think we should go to New Orleans." And then it might be a big blow up because you had Tahiti back here in your little mind, and you're like, "Yeah, but you a man. You just said you wanted to take me somewhere. This is where I want to go." Like, no, that is not how it works. You you must create you must do what you can to create your experience. And trust me, what you do is going to be enough. But don't be sitting up waiting for somebody else to create for you. That ain't right. That ain't right. Real Housewives of Atlanta, uh, not Real Housewives of Atlanta, Real Housewives franchise has us all turned around in the media's eye. I don't have my tribes don't move that way. I have never been in any type of tribe outside of like grammar school as an adult woman. Ain't nobody put their hands on nobody. Ain't nobody threw nothing across no restaurant. Ain't nobody got I did go to an event a couple of months ago where somebody got loud, but they wasn't in my crew. They wasn't in my tribe. That was like where I had taken a piece of my tribe to put it in with a piece of somebody else's tribe. And then I was privy to that information of these people like to turn up and act a fool in public. And I was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna fool with y'all no more because I don't do that." But like I was saying, like that Real Housewives franchise got a whole lot of people fooled. And you can see it. It's like our young people are trying to take on these mannerisms that they're seeing on these shows. And it's like, no, teach them how to show up and stand on their square as who they are. You don't need to try to be nobody else. You don't need to try to put nothing on to fit in or none of that stuff. Like what is that? Oh my gosh. Um I see what Charles said. I don't watch that junk. I don't really watch it for the mess. Let me tell you what I watch it for. I watch it for self-healing. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of that, but every now and again I will tune into something. And I love to just I'm a scientist by nature. I love to extrapolate things and get to the bottom of why they exist and how they exist and how people think and the way they move and stuff like that. So when I'm watching these shows, even when I used to watch Wendy Williams, I loved to just see, like, first of all, how people were dressed because the audience was always cute. I love to watch Real Housewives to see how they're dressing, some of the fashion trends and stuff, see if I want to acquiesce some of their stuff. Like that's the thing is like there's nothing wrong with tastefully grabbing from culture what you will. But just to completely try to be something other than what you are, like that's ridiculous. That's not how we move. Like I was saying, like I don't have people in my tribe that show up in the way that I've seen on some of them shows. And I see some of our young people starting to mimic these behaviors in real life. And I'm like, The reason why they're able to mimic these behaviors so easily and acquiesce them to who they are is they don't have their tribe no more. You could think you was about to go do something. You could like you could think you was about to walk out the house in a bonnet. Let's go there. The bonnets? No. Where your auntie at? Where your grandmama at? Where your big sister? You I would try to walk out the door and something crazy. My grandma would be like, where do you think you're going? Just gonna go to the mailbox. No, ma'am. Not with that on your head, you're not, you know? And today, like, because we haven't had our gatekeepers letting their voices out, like so many people have silenced their elders. Like, oh no, don't be talking to don't tell the kids. Like that's why a lot of the kids are so soft and so emotionally derailed oftentimes. Like just like with a garden, we got to harden our vegetables. Like I don't go to the garden center and grab, my Brussels sprouts, my asparagus, and my tomato plants, and take them from the garden center and go put them right in the garden. You can't do that. You have to harden them, right? You have to take the plants out, leave them in their casings in the sun so that they can start to get used to the sun, and then once they've been out there for a few days and you've been watering them, that's called hardening. And as they get hardened, then you can finally take them out their pots, put them into the ground. We are not hardening our children no more. We are not hardened as a society anymore. And I'm not saying we need to be rough around the edges, but what I'm saying is we had tough skin to where somebody could give you constructive criticism. We had what they call constructive criticism, which meant I'm telling you something that's not quite right with you right now, but I'm not telling you to hurt your feelings. I'm telling you so that you can make your adjustment and not do that no more because that's not how you should show up. That's not how you should do this. That's not, like, and it was just that simple. And yeah, you would be ticked. I remember there was a mother at my church. Anytime I wore something with some sleeves, she would say, "You look nice today." And I would be like, mm. But because I had proper tutelage, I knew like you can't cuss this elder out. She's expressing herself, letting you know that this is what she would prefer for you, which is a whole nother situation. But like we still valued what our elders taught us, even if your elder was just a couple of years older than you. Like I remember we had youth counselors, youth pastors and stuff that would take us on retreat and teach us about different personal hygiene things, about being a lady, being a young lady, being a young man, being an athlete, right? Like they taught us like, okay, yes, you're an athlete, yes, you're going to be sweating, and yes, you're going to probably stink quicker than somebody else. So we need you to understand that you're gonna, like we had that. And those were folks that were trusted in our community. Why? Because we all knew each other. Folks was vetted, you know? So we have to get back to building those tribes. We have to get back to cultivating the relationships so that we can begin to live again. Because all this living behind technology and being keyboard gangsters and just being checked out. I see so many people that are just checked out. It's like they're on their phone and they're not really here. And I'm like, no, your reality is right here. They got the metaverse now. You can buy property in the metaverse. You can buy eyelashes in the metaverse. You probably buy a bonnet in the metaverse. Um, but like, why would you want to be so tied up in buying things inside of a facade rather than just tending to your square right here where you are right here, the people that are right here in front of you, right next door to you, right on the corner, the attendant at the gas station, right? I know you're up in Jersey, y'all still got actual attendants that pump your gas. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. Now I don't know why. I would love to know a little bit more about that. But anytime that's happened, I'm like, oh, I get to actually, let me, let me let me talk to people. Let me have a conversation. I try to, if someone is open to it, I want to have a just, nothing deep, but just a little dialogue, a little chuckle. It feels good. We've got to rebuild tribe because if we don't work to do it, it ain't gonna just build itself. Okay. So whatever that looks like for you, whoever's in your neighborhood, if you live in an apartment building, whoever in your building that's sane enough for you to be communicating with, right? Because if folks ain't in their right mind or they move in a different way than you, then you don't have to connect. I'm not telling you to just go connect with anyone, but I am telling you that hellos are free and looking out for one another is a beautiful part of tribalism that I see that we could really cultivate some more. And yeah, that's how we're gonna make it grow. Is we're gonna whatever we want to experience, we're gonna put it out there. Let me see my comments here. Chuck says, correction. No, not the bonnets. Yeah, the bonnets. I'm gonna do a hair episode soon, and we're gonna talk about these bonnets because the bonnets, yeah, like Chuck saying, they've become a fashion statement. I see women and let me tell you, if you see me, you better watch your back if you got a bonnet on, because I've been videotaping people because I'm tired of this. I'm like, I see people in the airport. I see people picking up their kids. I see people walking down the street. I see people in the store. Bonnets aren't meant to be worn outside the house. And by the way, nobody really wants to look at that inside the house either. I'm just saying. They're not a fashion statement. When I lived in Miami, they would coordinate their bonnet with they outfit. They would if they had on purple and some pink and some white, the bonnet would be purple or something. And I'm like, you're still not invisible. I can see that. And where your mama? Where your auntie? Where your grandmama? Where your big sister? Where your neighbor? Like, go comb your hair. It's not that bad. It's not. I would rather see you out with your little gangster braids for your lace for under your lace front than to see you with the bonnet because at least it's braided. But no. Anyhow, um, Charles said, "Oh, Nakia said, hi, the bonnets are terrible. I don't own one. Nakia, I didn't own one until last year. And it was because I've been talking about them so bad. I'm a hairstylist, and a lot of the ladies that I do have locks like mine. So one of the first things that I tell them is, I'm like, child, you are free. You are free today, sister. You don't have to wear a bonnet no more. Praise the Lord. Because I'm like, I'm not I am that girlfriend that seems like she advocates for the men, but I'm like, don't no man want to look at no bonnet in the house. Like let's really, really utilize it for what it's for. It's just for you to keep your rollers from falling out and being all in the bed, or to keep your hair from being all disheveled and messed up when you wake up in the morning. Now, get you a silk pillowcase, honey. Silk pillowcase won't mess up your hair. Even them little cute short haircuts with pencil curls. A silk pillowcase will do you just fine. I'm serious. You ain't got to wear that bonnet. But if you do, if you do need to go to bed in a bonnet because you don't want to mess up your hair, it is my personal advice to you. When you're out of the bed, when you 10 toes down, take that bonnet off. If you're cooking dinner and you don't want your hair in the food, bring your hair back or whatever. But like I don't think as kids we want to look up and see our moms in bonnets, and I don't think as men they look up and see their wives in bonnets. So yeah, no. And Chuck said it seemed like it all started when they started wearing slippers outside. Look here, them furry slippers, ugh, ugh. I'm not gonna do nothing crazy, but I just wish that those fuzzy slippers would burn. That's all I'm saying. Them things, I don't care if they do have a hard bonnet, a hard bottom. They're not meant to be worn outside the house. Keep the Ugg slippers in the house. Keep the fuzzy slippers in the house. Yeah, Nakia said a net and a silk scarf will do. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And it feels better. It feels better. Oh, it feels better. Anyhow, I just wanted to get back to that conversation of of the end of that conversation. Like, okay, this is how we build. You can have cookouts. If your family don't have family reunions, guess what? You're gonna have to plan the reunion. And if planning a reunion is too big for you, then plan a family meal, whatever you can do. Quarterly, once a month, once a week, once a year. If you want it to be on an all off, I thought about this for my family. I'm thinking about asking for us to be able to gather on a day that's not a holiday so that everybody can make it. Because what happens oftentimes on the holidays, I notice, is especially with, you got this tribe of folk that's this family of husband, wife, kids. Then you got this tribe, husband, wife, kids, and you got this tribe, but mama and kids, whatever, whatever. And everybody is separating themselves, especially the folks that have like in-laws. It's like, okay, well, we got to go over here. And then we're gonna go over here for Easter, and then we're gonna go over there for Christmas and all this stuff. And it kind of separates everybody. And one thing I liked when I was a kid was my grandmother's house was like the central point that everybody had to stop by before the end of the holiday was over. And usually ended up falling that it would be a full table of like 8 to 10 that would be eating together. And I really loved that. But I'm thinking about for my family asking that we can do something that's like not on a holiday, but just a day, a weekend that works for everybody that we can all just gather and come and have fun. But what I will say is oftentimes the things that we want to experience, we don't realize that we have to do things to cultivate them. And we're angry, we're upset, like, oh, they don't do this, they don't do that. Well, guess what? If you want to experience it, you're going to have to create it. You're going to have to plan the cookout. You're going to have to plan the block party. You get you some other folks to help you. You know what I mean? But in order to experience it, you're going to have to create it. If you want a play club for the kids in the neighborhood, then you might have to be the safe parent in the neighborhood. That's like, okay, I have the big yard, I have the trampoline, I have all the parents know me. My house will be the anchor house. And at least y'all, you can see your kids walking. I know everybody got cameras now, so it's like you can see them moving their way down the street, coming to my house. They're here, they're safe. I'll call, like we've got to build this because we can't just keep going on the way we're going and breaking down our human connection. That human connectivity is such a beautiful thing. We get so much from one another, even just in being in each other's presence. Hormones and pheromones are stimulated, and systems are jubilating. So let's not forget that. Let's not forget our human side. Let's not forget to not be on the phone when we're going to the grocery store and we're checking out with an actual cashier. Let's put the phone down. Hey, how you doing today? And actually make eye contact with that person. And if they still grumpy, still be able to be willing to smile. Let's be willing to talk to the gas clerk. Let's just be willing to be fully present in order to rebuild our tribe. And how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you build a tribe? One person at a time. That person, guess who? Guess who the first tribe member is? You. The first tribe member is you. The first tribe member is me. That's all I have to say, y'all. I thank you so much for tuning in today. It has been a lovely episode. I'll be here once a month because, like I said, I got a busy life. Make sure you follow me on social media. It's been so lovely joining with you again. And until the next time, peace.